So guys, before we get started, don't forget we do have that amazing discount code thanks to Tier 0 Games going on right now. And all you have to do is put in ZWGames5 to get 5% discount on your total order at tier0games.com. The links will be in the description below.
What's up YouTube? I have Zippo Games and it's finally here. We finally have a nice easy way of making Quintet with Magical Eyes Fusion. This comes out in the special editions of Dark Neostorm. It's one of two of the super rare promo cards. I don't believe it's the future card. I think it is just the promo card. But basically what it is you fusion summon one spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. You can only activate one Magical Eyes Fusion per turn. Now, of course, the one issue that we always have with Quintet is having 5 spellcasters on a Dark Magician deck in our hand or field with a polymerization. Now, we just need to get them to grave. And we know how easy that is. Blow up Eternal Soul. Everything goes to the grave. But there are some spicy techs in this deck in order to help accelerate the ability of getting the 5 spellcasters into the graveyard, and I also have some other alternatives towards the end of the video that will also show you other ways of getting spellcasters to the graveyard that also help protect and extend your board as well. So without further ado, I'm going to take you straight through the profile, show you exactly what we've got, and do not worry, this is not the only version. Of course, when it comes to Dark Magician, there is also Dark Magician Girl, and I will be bringing you her version tomorrow, which is just as cool with a lot more spicy text in as well. So, we start off with, of course, triple Dark Magician, standard on that one. I love the brand new art, but of course, the OG art always rules. So, chuck the OG art in there if you've got it, and move on from there. I have also tried to keep this deck as budget as possible. I will also explain towards the end of the video the other cards, if you have the money or you have the access to please put them in the deck. It will only increase the power. Triple Magician's Rod and double Magician of Dark Illusion. Now the one quick question I don't actually know is when does Quintet notify that it's 5 different spellcaster monsters with different names? Now, if it registers them when they're banished, of course this does not count as Dark Magician when it's banished. It only counts as Dark Magician in the graveyard. So technically, if you were to banish this and this, you would have another monster in the graveyard or another monster banished that has been used to fusion summon with Quintet. So that is just my understanding. I don't honestly know that. If you do know the answer to that, put that in the comments down below. I will try and find out myself as well, as or not whether cards that are counted as Dark Magician in the graveyard, when they're banished using Magical Eyes Fusion, do they count as a monster with a different name? Do they go back to their original name, or how does Quintet kind of read the game state in that sense? Then of course we've got 2 Apprentice, again another spellcaster with a different name and can search out your Dark Magician. The one Dark Magician Girl, because I just love bond between teacher and student too much. The card is so good. So I really like that. And then we have gone back to the spellbook engine with the Blue Boy, just because it is an additional spellcaster on top of that as well. If you don't open up Rod or Blue Boy, we do play the one Chocolate Magician Girl, again additional spellcaster, and it can help put spellcasters in the graveyard for you to draw. Another alternative is Mahard. I really want to put Mahard in, but I feel that to put Mahard in, I need to either have more access to Chocolate Magician Girl, or I need to have a Phantasme in order to fix my hand, because he is a very dead card if you open up with him, which can be a bit of a disappointment. Then moving on to the extension of the board, you've got the 2 Keeper of Dragon Magics. Now this is just purely to get to your poly, and then either go with your Dark Magician or your Dark Magician Girl in order to make your Dragon Knight. Because what you want to then do is you can use your Dragon Knight, get rid of it, and then you've got Eternal Soul to keep bringing it back as well. So that's a couple of tech plays that you can make that way. And then the spicy hand trap is called Triple Effect Veiler. It is a spellcaster. So if you actually wanted to, you could also play Droll and Lockbird in the deck as well, because it is an additional spellcaster that once it hits the grave, it's of little use to you, apart from the fact you can banish it with Magical Eyes Fusion, and straight away you're going into your Quintet a lot quicker and easier as well. So So that's it for the monster lineup. As a standard Dark Magician, it is a little bit more monster heavy, but that is purely just because you've got your spellcasters. If you don't want to play Keeper of Dragon Magic and you don't want to go into the additional fusions and you just want to play like a standard Dark Magician build, you take those out, you start going in for more power plays, stuff like Phantasmes, like I mentioned, Ogres, Ashes, all cards like that you can put into the main. And once I get to the end, I'll tell you a spicy tech that you could take those out for as well. So for the spells, we've got triple Dark Magical Circle, very straightforward and easy on that one. Double Magicalized Fusion. Now, I was considering playing this at 1 in this deck because of just how, you don't really want to open this up unless you have a way to turbo 5 spellcasters into the graveyard. Quintet is not an immune card. It is not immune by like battle or stuff like that. So if it's fusion someone with 5 spellcaster monsters with different names, you destroy all cards your opponent controls. Now, obviously there is an issue with that, is it can get striked, it still can be interrupted. This face-up card on the field cannot be tributed nor used as fusion field. Obviously it can't be destroyed by card effects, so it can still have its effects negated and it can still be destroyed by battle. So you do have to be very, very careful that you don't want to put all your eggs into one basket. What you ideally want to be doing is you want to be able to build your board up, you want to have an Eternal Soul set ready to go, link off your monsters to get them into the graveyard in order to bring out stuff like YUGIOH, which will then give Quintet a boost to put him up to 5k. You then want to have the ability to revive a Dark Magician from the graveyard without, of course, losing your ability to get Quintet. That then triggers Circle, Circle then banish another card. Then you bring out Quintet, and Quintet will destroy all of your opponent's cards. So that leaves them with absolutely nothing. Quintet is swinging in for 5k, Dark Magician is swinging in for 3k. That is game. So obviously, YUGIOH just gives you that additional bonus to finish the game off. Then we've got 2 Eye of Timaeus, which is such... no, it's not searchable. Why is it not searchable? We do not know, and we will never know. Eye of Timaeus is not searchable, but it's still an incredibly powerful card, and because this is the fusion version of the deck, we play every type of Dark Magician fusion out there. We've got your Dark Dragon Knight, we've got your Cavalier, we've got, Cavalry, sorry, we've got your Paladin, we've got your Amulet Dragon, we even have your Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. So, play Eye of Timaeus. Then moving on to the spellbooks, we've got 2 Secrets, 2 Knowledge, 1 Illusion Magic, 1 Bond between teacher and student, 1 Dark Burning Magic Attack, 1 Dark Magic Inheritance. Then we've got the 1 Sage Stone, because the amazing combo that I love is if you go Dark Magician, you can turn a single Dark Magician, if you've got Bond Between and Sage Stone, which are both searchable by the way, you turn 1 Dark Magician into 2 Dark Magicians and a Dark Magician Girl and a Dark Burning Magic. So, happy days on that one. Polymerization, of course, like I said, you search this off of your Dragon Knight and Keeper of Dragon Magic, and then of course that gives you the ability to hard summon basically your Dragon Knight. And what you've got to keep in mind as well is this does require Dark Magician on 1 Dragon Monster, so you can actually get this off of Miracleized Fusion. Finishing off the trap lineup, of course, we've got triple Magician's Navigation and triple Eternal Soul. This is the first official Dark Magician deck that I am playing with triple Eternal Soul. Now, the reason of that is I can get a boss monster. I don't mind if my opponent blows up my board and puts Eternal Soul into the graveyard, because I can then use that to get a boss monster on board. On top of that, if I do have Eternal Soul on board with Quintet, my biggest issue with Eternal Soul was that once someone nukes it, I am left defenseless. But because Quintet cannot be destroyed by card effects outright, if I have Quintet on board and my opponent decides to Eternal Soul me, I don't mind. I'm still left with a 4500 beta that you cannot kaiju. The only downside is Quintet doesn't actually have any form of disruption during your opponent's turn, or apart from nuking the board. But the chances are once you've brought him out and nuked the board, your opponent's got no way of coming back from that, and you should technically win from that. So, of course, on TH deck we do have the 1 Quintet. And then we move into some spice. The spice, of course, is the Akashic Magician. It has made its return. So, 2 monsters with the same type. I'm playing a heck tons of spellcasters, so that's definitely going in. Except tokens. So what? You can only link summon Akashic Magician once per turn. If this card is linked summoned, return all monsters this card points to the hand. So it is a nice little bounce effect, but it's not what you want to be worrying about. This is what you want to focus on. Once per turn, you can declare 1 card name. Excavate the top card from your deck, equal to the total number of link ratings of the link monsters co-linked to this card. Then you excavate any copies of the declared card, add them to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard. So, once you have the ability to extend from Akashic and make her co-linked, you then have the ability to stack your deck with Circle and then get an additional plus off of that. So it just gives you a further dig into your deck in order to get your Miracleized Fusion, your Eternal Soul, your Navigation, your Eye of Timaeus, any stuff like that. It's very, very specific, but it is also a spellcaster monster as well. So even if you don't get to use its second effect, you use its first effect to deal with any troublesome monsters, especially if you put a Kaiju in the in the side deck. You Kaiju off one of your monsters, bounce that Kaiju back to your hand, and then off you go with an Akashic. So it does give you a lot to play around with. On top of that, we also play the one Link Spider. We all know the combo where you loop Dark Magician with the Eternal Soul and a Link Spider. We've then got the one YUGIOH, of course, quite straightforward on that one. 2 Dark Monsters, which the majority of your spellcasters are, and then giving a boost to your Quintet, making it 5k. We've then got the one Crowley, the first Prophecy. If you have the ability to protect this card, of course, this is very, very nice because you get to have reveal 3 spell books with different names from your deck, and your opponent randomly picks one. So if you still haven't gone through your spellbook plays, you do then get to add a spellbook, and that will then entitle you to a spellbook play. The rest go back into the deck. Only use the effect once per turn, and then if you have not used your normal summon once per turn, you get to 1 level 5 or higher spellcaster monster you can normal summon without tribute in. So of course, if you haven't used your normal summon, or if you have keep this guy on board, you do get to normal summon your Dark Magician for free. Alternatively, you can take that out if you wish. For the XYZs, of course, we've got the double Ibon illusion. You can drop this down to 1 should you wish. The one Big Eye, very rare that it comes up, but being able to steal your opponent's link monsters is always going to be nice. And then the one Red Eyes Flare Metal, because this can burn your opponent out in time. Then, of course, we move on to the fusions. We've got your double Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, probably the most consistent fusion to be made in the extra deck. You can use it with Miracleized Fusion, Polymerization, and, of course, Eye of Timaeus. We've then got the Dark Cavalry, just because you can. So for each spell or trap card on the field and in the graveyard, if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. When a card or effect is activated that targets a card on the field, discard 1 card and negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. So this is a nice out to Altergeists. We've then of course got the 1 Dark Paladin, the 1 Amulet Dragon, and the 1 Dark Magician Girl, the Dragon Knight. So again, very, very fusion heavy base lineup. However, now is the time where I will tell you some of the spicy little changes and techs that you can make throughout the deck, whether you're making it budget or not. Now, if you're not making it budget, of course, Phantasme, Pot of Extravagance is also a very, very good choice. If you do decide to go with Pot of Extravagance, I would advise putting Quintet up to at least 3, as he is your brand new win con in the deck. I'd also then say focus on your YUGIOH, focus on your Bonnet Illusion, and then focus on some other little tech cards like your Phoenix, your Cerberus, maybe even your Unicorn, possibly Borrow Swords and Borrow Lows, depending on how much you want to flood onto the board. Because ideally, like I said, you want to make sure that your spellcasters aren't on the board, that they're in the graveyard, so that you can special summon them into your Quintet. Alternatively, another little spicy tech that I do like in this deck is you actually play Instant Fusion, and you get to play Millennium Eyes and Thousand Eyes in your extra deck. So that also, because they are spellcasters, gives you the ability to get another spellcaster into the graveyard while also protecting yourself from hand traps. So the one thing you've noticed is that I do not have Called by the Grave in the main, they are in the side deck. However, if you did want to go more focused on the Quintet play, what you can do, of course, is put in your Thousand Eyes with your Instant Fusion. That then puts another spell in the graveyard for your inheritance. Not that that's a massive deal, but the whole idea is you get a spellcaster on board. You either steal one of your opponent's monsters going second, or of course you protect yourself from hand traps going first. Then that allows you to either, if you want to, link off into a Link Karibo, and then of course push your plays further forward. But it does put a guaranteed spellcaster with a different name in your graveyard for your Miracleized Fusion plays. So, that is it for the Dark Magician profile, revolving around Magicalized Fusion and of course Quintet. If you do have any questions whatsoever, please put them down in the comments below. If you also know the answer between if I have a Magician of Dark Illusion and a Dark Magician in the graveyard, and I choose to use Miracleized Fusion to make Quintet, does Quintet register it as 5 different monsters, or does it register the monster's name in the graveyard, so it technically counts as a Dark Magician? So that would be great to find out, because if not, you can just go ham. The other kind of text I'm looking at putting into this deck is stuff like, I think it's part of Equivocedness and Allure of Darkness, so that you, because you're going to be banishing more consistently, you have ways of bringing them back and drawing extenders. However, like I said, the initial play is, once you make the Miracleized Fusion play to make Quintet, as long as it does not get negated, or the summon does not get negated, well, this doesn't get negated, you should technically win the game. You want to be making sure you make Quintet with 5 different monsters, nuke your opponent's board, and then you're going to crash through your opponent for 4,500, and then have the ability to revive a Dark Magician, play a Dark Magician, just extend your board that little bit further. Not to mention that if you wanted to, you could also drop an extra 2k on top of this guy to protect him from an attack with your Apprentice. So remember the Apprentice effect, that it can be used as a 2k plus hand trap. So if you've got a YUGIOH on board, this is a 5k, you're dropping your Apprentice, it goes up to a 7k beta. Obviously the one issue you've got with this is your opponent can steal it with Borrowload, so be very, very careful. You do not want this to be stolen by a Borrowload. But like I said, once you bring him out, you have to win the game. That is the play. Bring him out and win the game. Simple as that. Dark Magician now have an insane boss monster with an insane fusion spell. It's just a shame it doesn't say, which could include a Dark Magician. And then we could search it. But then that would just be too good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Like I said, stay tuned for my Dark Magician Guild profile tomorrow. It certainly brings a different area to the Quintet play. It does revolve around having Quintet as a boss monster, but it also plays a lot of the Dark Magician Girls in order to extend the board a little bit more and makes it more consistent, getting you 5 spellcasters with different names in the graveyard. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling.
What's up YouTube, Dad here with YUGIOH. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, please hit that big thumbs up button in the bottom corner as well. And don't forget to hit the big red subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Make sure you click that notification bell as well so you know every time one of our new videos goes up. Throughout the whole year of 2019, we're going to have more deck profiles, duels, and of course pack openings for you guys to watch and enjoy the entire year round. So stay tuned for more, and as always guys, happy dueling.